Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
The truth shall set you free.
You can't handle the truth.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
That's not how the Force works. Oh, really? You're cold?
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
I'd buy that for $1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Hasta la vista, baby. I don't have friends. I got family.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know.
Hello and welcome to the Creative Control Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Kenan, and thank you for joining us for our movie review of Last Night in Soho. The whole team went out actually last night to watch it at City World, a screening together, which was great. And originally it was just like two of us, and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm free, really want to see this." It was actually one of those movies that everybody really wanted to see, and well, let's kind of say hi to everybody. So, joining on today's show, we have Alex, Sacha, Neil, and Amrita. How you doing, guys?
All good, all good.
Doing well.
Brilliant. So, any news since yesterday? I know Amrita's been food shopping, but that's
yeah.
And Neil's just been decorating.
I've been working today. Other than that, that's it.
And Sacha and I have been playing COD during our breaks and like after work. So as we usually do. And we got another win. Come on. Right. So we're here to talk about Last Night in Soho. And this is the new film from writer and director Edgar Wright. And screenplay for this was Christy Wilson Cranes. I'm not sure how she pronounces that. But we tend to know what we're getting from Edgar Wright. It's going to be quite a unique movie. Obviously, I'm personally a huge fan of his Cornetto trilogy. It's one of my favorite set of movies, probably one of my favorite trilogies. And it's been a long time coming since we've had a movie from him. So last time was like Baby Driver, which is his last big one, and now this. And so just generally just going to go around each of you, just give me your initial thoughts on the movie last night. Neil, what were your first impressions?
I really liked it. Yesterday I was nitpicking,
Yeah.
but I really, really liked the film. All in all, I liked the film. I thought it was very good. It wasn't a horror, which didn't disappoint me as much as I thought it was going to. But all in all, the film was a really good film. It was a good thriller. I liked there was a twist, and I liked the twist. So no, I was thoroughly enjoying it. And then obviously, they broke the stereotype with the ending.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll come into some
that.
spoilers in a little while. So at the moment we're going to talk in spoiler free. So we'll let you know when we're going to drop some spoilers, so then you can think, I'm going to tune out if I haven't seen it yet. So, Alex, what were your thoughts on the film?
Yeah, agree with Neil. I really enjoyed it. I'm not a big horror guy, hence the reason I wasn't on the top 10 horror episode.
Yeah.
So I was kind of glad it was more sort of thriller than sort of horror. I mean, there's a couple of jump scares in there and that kind of thing that got me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Visually, it was awesome with some of the, sort of the tricks of switching back between time periods and that kind of stuff. And really, really liked it. Would definitely recommend.
Great. And Amrita, what was your thoughts on the film?
Similarly, I'm echoing what Neil and Alex have both said. I really enjoyed the visual aspect of it. I like films that have like an older quality to them as well. And this, I said this to Neil at the end, it felt like a very unique film for today's day and age. We don't really see a lot of films like this. And I appreciated the aesthetic of it all, the modern day versus the 60s as well. I also really enjoyed the story, and I thought, yes, it was great that there were elements of horror, but the psychological thriller aspect drew me in more. And I think it was held up really well. I just enjoyed the story a lot. Yeah. Great leads as well.
Yeah. Sacha, your thoughts?
I thought it was fucking terrible, man. It's the worst film that Edgar Wright has ever made and stuff. And yeah, I'm being totally sarcastic. It's not. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters. For the longest time, I thought it was very predictable until it really wasn't. And then I was just like, you damn got me. So, like, yeah, bravo. Compliments to the chef. Seriously, it was good. It was very good. Had some awesome cinematography by what's his name? Chung Hoon Chung, who did Stoker, Old Boy, The Handmaiden, It. Most of what do you call it? Park Chan-wook's films. So you know the director of Old Boy, one of my favorite films. He's his main cinematographer. So yeah, he brought that kind of. Now that you mention Old Boy, I can see it, like with the way the lighting is in Soho, and like the way the lighting is, like when she goes and have the flashbacks and stuff like that. It's really well. It was a really good looking picture. And a very different energy to his previous works, which is really good. I like the leads. I'm going to butcher names now. Thomasin McKenzie, she was fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy, she was great as well. Thomasin McKenzie, she was in what was it, Jojo Rabbit. She was the girl the girl that lived in the in the house, like
the Jew that was hiding in the house.
The Jew girl, there we go. I wasn't going to say that, just trying to be PC, but
she was not a bad thing.
I know, man. Like we're living in a Me Too world, man. I don't want to get cancelled. Okay, so like so yeah, but no. To be quite honest, I didn't even know that she was from that, and that's a movie where I know her performance very well. So to just discover it's the same actress, I was like, damn, this girl can really act, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like she's
definitely matured, in that short period from Jojo Rabbit to this. She's definitely taken on a new look, and absolutely. So.
But I mean,
she was in Old. Not so long ago as well. I'm not sure.
I never saw that.
Like briefly, yeah.
Oh,
if you saw that,
she was.
She played the little girl in the Old.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
She's kind of been around in a few things I've seen lately, but I would agree she's matured a lot, and her acting.
Well, to be fair though, this as much as the marketing and everything's on, what's the other girl called? Anya Taylor-Joy, is that
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Anya Taylor-Joy. As much as the marketing and everything centered around her, because obviously she's been in a lot of big stuff right now, I actually think it's the other girl's movie. It is her movie. She is the lead. She holds it really. She leads it very, very well, and probably like one of her best performances to date, I think, because I didn't know that it was the same actress. She's fantastic, and Edgar Wright does it again, man. Finding all these new young talents. He did so with Baby Driver, and even though it wasn't my cup of tea, I am going to say this is going to be blasphemous. I didn't like Scott Pilgrim. It was like a movie that I thought was catered towards me, especially. And when I watched it, I was like, I'm not feeling it. But you know what? Like, the guy knows how to pick his cast, though, regardless of whether I like his films or not. And this film was stellar from start to finish.
Yeah. So to give you a bit of an idea of the premise again, without giving too much away, is kind of the beats of what you kind of see in the trailer. So we've got Ellie. She's a young girl, sort of like university years. She's living down in Cornwall with her grandmother. You understand that her mother's passed away, and you find out that she died when she was about 7 years old. And you see reflections of the mother in the mirror. This is like straight off the bat, so you can sense, right, Eloise or Ellie, she kind of has is it a gift for seeing things, or is it just she just sees the presence of her mother kind of thing? So she gets entry into university in London, and her grandmother's like,
London College of Fashion.
There we go.
No, University of the Arts.
Yeah, there we go.
Thanks.
So she gets accepted in. She makes her own clothes, and that's what she travels to London in. Grandmother's really conscious of her going. She thinks maybe, is she ready for it? Like, they really make a thing about London being overwhelming, it being a big place, it being a character of its own, in a sense, So you kind of have that going in. She gets to London. She arrives at university. She meets her dorm roommate, who kind of seems a little bit skittish, not quite too sure of her. But in about 5 minutes, you're like, she's a bitch, and trying to one up her. She's because her mother died as well. They're in the same club, and it was a cancer. She was like, cancer, fuck cancer. Cancer's a bitch. And then how so then the other girls asked Ellie, how did your mum die? And it was suicide. And it was like, I had an uncle die of suicide. Yeah, it's terrible. It's just like they have to one up each other throughout this whole thing. So she becomes really uncomfortable. They go on a night out. She doesn't have a good time. There's a party back at the place. She just doesn't want to be there. So Ellie wants to go find some alternative accommodation. And she finds this old house on Good Street. There's an advert in the uni. She goes to see it. Very old-fashioned house in a room at the top of this building. It's right outside this like flashing neon sign for this like Greek restaurant next door. Very atmospheric in the room, but it's going to work for her, And she meets this old woman who owns the property, who's lived there for years. She used to clean it, and now she owns it. And so then when Ellie starts going to sleep in this room, she then starts transitioning into dreams, and she's experiencing dreams back in London in the 60s, and the way they've made London look during those dream sequences is fantastic. We enter, as we do in the trailer, to Café de Paris, which Sacha and we've definitely been to a few nights out at Café de Paris. Had a few birthdays and stuff there. Rhea as well. Neil, you've been?
Yeah, I've been in there. I've been in there a couple of times.
Did you make it into Café de Paris?
No.
So it's really quite surreal kind of seeing that, and it did bring some memories back of like what that place looked like, because it's not the biggest place.
Going down that stairs.
Yeah, there's like this like circle in there with these steps going down. It's like, oh wow. And and then we start to see that she is not herself in these dreams, but she starts seeing a reflection of this other character who is played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who is Sandy. And Sandy is this young woman who wants to become a singer. She wants to become famous. And, she's really enjoying seeing her story. So she's kind of seeing Sandy's story play out, and she's really into it. She wants to keep going back and seeing it more. Just want to touch on this point here. So that first interaction where we kind of see Ellie seeing Sandy, I thought it was just so well done. The reflections in the mirrors, there's like these jagged mirrors going down the stairs, and just this reflection going all the way down, and the movements of the actresses together, and we go into a dance sequence, and it flips from one to the other. Just amazing. And I think, Alex, you said you saw a video, a bit of a making of this, and that was very much practical, where they had the cameraman in and out of the dance sequences and the girls moving in and out of the shot. So it is not just CGI or lots of cuts. It's a fluid take.
Yeah, basically, ducking out underneath each other, out of view, and sort of switching places and that kind of stuff.
And just beautifully done, just fantastic. Everything seems to be going well for Ellie. She's taking what she's seeing in these dreams into her fashion, so she wants to do the 60s, and music plays such a huge part in this movie. Music's probably the third major character in this movie. Ellie's listening to music on her headphones. She takes a record player from back home where her gran used to play like 60s, 70s music, like all 60s music all the time. That's what she listens to, and all those songs playing to the beat. Still a Black, and exactly, Still a Black. So he's kind of, the music plays such a key tone. Headphones coming on and off, transitioning into different bits. We have it in the club, setting the tone and the style. It's just fantastic. And then things just kind of turn a little bit sour. So she starts not thinking that this dream is just a dream. She starts realizing that it's not a happy story. She can't control these dreams. She's just kind of along for this ride, and she starts seeing things. And things end up kind of switching between the dreams and the real world. So that's kind of all I'm going to kind of touch on with that, because I don't want to give too much away. But then it's about Ellie trying to find out what's happened to this girl, and she keeps seeing things, and that's when the horror kind of aspect comes into it. As she starts seeing things, figures, spirits, all this kind of stuff going on. And then I think it's in the trailer as well. You kind of see like this murder, basically, as she witnesses a murder, and she's trying to think, I need to let people know this is happening. She thinks it's something that she's seen from the past, and she needs to, find the person who did it. And as Sacha said, it seemed so many points throughout the movie, seems quite obvious who everybody was and who everyone's part was. But then they start dropping little hints throughout the third act. Everything's not quite what you think it is. And then you get some twists at the end. And one I saw coming, one I did about 2 minutes before it happened. But, that's the beauty of it, right? So, and that's the whole point, is leading you into it. And suddenly pennies start dropping and things start clicking. So we talked on, like Sacha mentioned some of the performances and stuff like that, probably from a recognizable face. Anya Taylor-Joy, because of her success of, what's the chess show on Netflix?
Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit, which she was amazing in. She's probably going to be your most recognizable face out of the two leads, which some people will think therefore she's lead. She's not. She is sort of like this, the secondary female character. But then we also had thingy from Doctor Who. What's his name?
Matt Smith.
Yeah, so he's part of the 60s world.
He was good in this. He was really good in this.
He was really good. Don't want to give too much away, but he goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. As you do see kind of a range within that character, and it's nice to see Smith doing something a little bit different. So, but I agree with you guys.
I like that his name was Jack as well. He was like Jack Loud.
Yeah, and it's like it's so believable for him to have been in that period of time. He's got the look, he's got the style, he's got the speech, he's got the swagger. It all kind of fit. But yeah, the music in the movie, the cinematography, we do see some like Hammer horror-esque type stuff in this as well, where, things are going in blades, eyes and all this kind of stuff. It really goes throughout the genre. And I just think for me, Edgar Wright was on top form, with this. I think he really delivered something, like we said, really unique in terms of its visuals. The color palette was fantastic. The music is better than Baby Driver in how it establishes the era and how it plays throughout everything. Even though the soundtrack to Baby Driver is good, this way it actually feeds into the story, for me, was so much better. What are your thoughts in terms of the comparison of music between that and Baby Driver?
I think you're right in the aspect of the music in Last Night in Soho is better than it was in Baby Driver, but I think it's probably because with Baby Driver, the music was essentially kind of all over the place. Like, he had present day music, he had 90s, he had 80s, he had 70s music. Whereas with this, the sole reflection was just the 60s. So it was like, I almost feel like he had to pick song. Like, he was like, okay, this is every song released in the 60s. This is every song from the 60s that is UK based.
Yeah.
Like, he basically he was like, you get to, it's almost like, what's the way I'm trying to phrase it? It's almost like by not having access to all the music, it meant that he really could choose better music.
Yeah.
Because he was like, okay, I've only got this pool to pick from, so I'm going to make sure I pick absolute right on the money songs. Because even like, I mean, it's not a spoiler, but that one of the songs in the film, when one of the characters says to Ellie, he goes, "Oh, I'm playing your song." And when he said that, I was like, in my head, like silently, I was like, how you know it's her song?
Yeah.
And then when he started singing it and her name is in it, I was like, I take it back.
Yeah. Brilliant. And obviously we had Zod himself, Terrence Stamp, in the movie as well.
Yes.
He was quite chilling in this, wasn't he? It was like, again, I don't want to give too much. We'll go into spoilers in a bit, but
I fell. Even though it's kind of sad.
I feel like he's chilling full stop.
Go ahead, Alex. What were you saying, Alex?
I was going to say, even like, I'm not trying not to go into spoilers, but obviously, even like in the trailer, it's kind of alluded to who you think he's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally bought into it, which seems stupid because you think, well, it's so obvious that it can't be true. There's got to be something, there's got to be a twist to it. But I still totally, went on that ride thinking, yeah, well, he is who we think he's going to be. And then, of course, sort of the twist happens. And it's not.
All right. What we'll
so.
do now is, we've kind of covered the movie in the sense that we think it's a fantastic movie. It's a great cinema experience. The music, the visuals, the acting performances. It's like not the horror. It's not a horror, but like we said, there's some jump scares. There's some presences there which you kind of get used to, so it takes away the scare factor. But the sound is really quite haunting in it, and that's kind of what grabs you. Is there's so there's a lot of suddenness in those kind of moments that can kind of grab you in. But what we'll do is we'll give a quick review now, because if anybody wants to switch off without going into spoiler territory, we'll give our reviews out of 10, and then we'll start talking some spoilers. So Neil, what would you give it out of 10?
It's gonna seem like I'm dissing the film, but I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, all right. Alex, yourself?
I'd go an 8 personally.
Cool, 8 out of 10. Amrita?
Yeah, I'm an 8 as well. A solid 8.
Sacha? Who is on mute?
I'm going to give it a 9.
Oh wow! Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, if I take it for pure enjoyment value, I'm going with a 9 as well. That's kind of where my head was at. I was thinking, am I rating it too high? But you gave me the confidence to stick with what I believe, which is a 9 out of 10. Yeah, there wasn't a moment in it where I was like watching, looking at the time or not invested in it. Had my attention the whole time of the movie. It's like a 2-hour movie. It's like hour 58 or something like that. So. Okay, look, now we're going to go into spoilers. Spoiler alert coming up on the screen. Those for your audio, we're going into spoilers now. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to know spoilers, but actually if you want to know spoilers before you go into it, stick around. We're going to go into some of those now.
You don't want spoilers before you go into it.
Yeah. Some people do that.
You're crazy.
It's kind of crazy. Some people do. Do.
It's those people that read the last page of a book before they finish.
Yeah, but actually, one thing that's actually not a spoiler. Well, it could be a spoiler. So actually, yeah, I will consider this a spoiler because you might think that something else is going to happen with this character. So in this movie, for me, I found the nicest guy in cinema in any movie ever. I have never known a character to be so helpful, so kind, so patient, so sweet. Just like you want to give him a hug, like constantly.
So strong. Don't forget, so strong.
Right? Absolutely.
Because
he's strong. He wants to be there
on his feet at the end.
Yeah. He's doing everything we can. No, we've lost picture, but I think we still got your sound, so just to let you know. But
could you be talking about John?
All right, cool. Yeah,
it is John. John.
Big John. Let's call him Big John.
Michael Ajay. I'm not sure how he pronounces that, so I'm really sorry. I doubt he's listening. But if anybody who knows him is listening, I am really sorry for butchering that. But he's been around a little while. He played really young in this, but he was actually like in Attack the Block. Like back in 2011.
Yeah.
So that's like 10 years ago.
Gosh, he was one of the two young kids.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
he was one of the 2 kids. He was like him and the little white one, the little white boy.
Yeah. My gosh.
So so he has been in a few films, but he was just like the sweetest character in this, and he's the one who's trying to help guide Ellie along throughout the movie. He's kind of the good voice on her shoulder when she's getting all the bad stuff on the other one. He's trying to help her. He believes her when she's saying she's seeing these visions of these ghosts and what's happening to her. He's there at the end to try and help her.
He's anchor. He's literally like that anchor every time that she's like spiraling and losing control, or
he's
also
the one that kind of
cushion.
Yeah,
he's also the pin
he is,
cushion.
because I mean, there's so many things.
Because
Like
my man
he takes her drink at a party by mistake. He realizes that he buys her a replacement cam, writes sorry on it. It's just like, my God, man, I love you. This is just like, it was just ridiculous. But I kept waiting for something to happen
material right now.
for him to turn. I was waiting for him to turn, and I wondered if it was going to happen. So they hook up in a club and they go back to their room, and I thought maybe he's actually going to turn on her. You know, maybe she's going to say stop, and he keeps going and ends up doing something he shouldn't with her. But he's like, no, sorry, what's wrong? This and the other. And she's screaming because she's seeing this vision of this killing. And the guy, man, it's just like, and this old woman comes in, she's busting in, thinking he's like raping her. And it's like, oh my God, this poor kid. The next day he's like, you're all right.
You know what, though?
It's like he's still checking on her. I'm like, you run out of there, glass on your feet, bloody feet, in your underwear. And this crazy woman say, are you okay? So that was that for me. That's probably of all of it. It's probably the most non-believable part of it, in a sense. He's very much a unknown character, but the performance was so nice, and he was just the way it was done. It was so forgivable. What do you guys think of John?
But she was also completely freaking out in that moment, so you can understand why he would want to check on her, because she clearly was not herself.
Yeah, but they ain't even been on a date. I'd be like, bitch, you crazy. I'm staying away. I'm here. I got to study. I got to progress in this fashion industry thing. I ain't got time for crazy.
Look, my man didn't even get to make his final piece.
No, exactly. Man gets stabbed at the end, and he can't even do his presentation at the end, and he's there supporting his girl. Man. Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, but you know what? I did like John, but there was one thing I noticed. Again, I'm nitpicking because unfortunately that's what like watching so many films has forced me to do now. So I didn't like one thing. When he gives her his can, that the can that says sorry, it's the same handwriting that wrote Ellie. So I'm like,
was it? Oh my God, Neil!
It was the same handwriting as wrote Ellie, wrote sorry. So
I mean, it's the most generic capital writing.
I have to rewatch that.
Shit like that gets on my nerves. Right, but no. All in all, I did like it. I like the fact that he lived. He made it to the end where, you know. Because, like, look, we talking about films that are thrillers or horrors. Like, look, brothers don't make it too far in the movie. Yeah. We've all seen films where they don't make it to the opening credits. He made it to the end credits. But no, he was a good character, and he was definitely the lights to the darkness that she was around. But also, I know what you were saying, Ken, he was a bit unbelievable. I think he actually did have a level of believability because just like how genuine he was.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It wasn't to say like, on paper he was a nice guy. Yeah, but it wasn't to be like, oh, he's a nice guy, but because he is such a genuine guy, because it wasn't like he was just being nice to her. And he was just nice to her until the moment of like.
Yeah, I totally agree. Reading the script, I would kind of see that's kind of unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? So on paper, it shouldn't work. It doesn't work. But the way he delivers that performance, totally, I bought into it. I was sucked in, no problems. You know, so absolutely.
And he also had that killer line. He had that magical line, though. Sorry, that's the last thing I have to say. That magical line he pulled off, where she was like, "Oh, I definitely don't want to go to sleep," and he was like, "Well, I can keep you up." I was like, "Mama!"
Yeah. Don't forget, guys, he had that line, and he had the line about needing a car to get.
It's like I'll drive you. You have a car? How else am I supposed to get from South London to North London?
I have to say though, like I think he was very believable in the sense that because you see right from the moment he meets Ellie that he instantly already is trying to help her.
When she's bringing her luggage up, right from the start.
I feel like he sees something in her that everyone else is prepared to overlook or put down as crazy or the outsider or whatever they want to call her. And he sees something, whatever he sees in her, he kind of wants to foster that care for her. right from the very beginning. So for me, the fact that he continues to be that anchor for her and continues to support her isn't really that unbelievable. I think he's just always liked her from the beginning.
True.
And like Neil said, you need that light balance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about Sandy in terms of the character. So, you know, we see her, it's all kind of, she's in flashbacks because obviously she's set in the 60s. The trailer, it kind of doesn't show, it doesn't give you enough hints that actually she goes through a really tough time. So she's basically wants to be a singer, and the character played by Matt Smith, he lures her in, you know, being this charming guy in London, wants to take her under his wing, going to be her manager, make her a star, and then basically ends up being a pimp and starts prostituting her out. And he's like, you got to do this if you want to get ahead. And she starts sleeping with loads of guys, you know, and yeah, I was quite surprised by that. I didn't expect that to be that case. It's not graphic in any way, but it's the way and the manner in which it's presented is quite haunting. You know, just the
it's very uncomfortable.
Exactly. Yes, definitely makes it uncomfortable. Was that a bit of a surprise for you in the movie?
Definitely, yeah. Because like you say, it's not portrayed that in the trailer, and you kind of get the idea that she's going to be the sort of lovely, bubbly 60s flashbacks. I mean, obviously, you know, it's going to be a sort of a dark, thrillery sort of horror of a movie,
but more just like a Jill Lover kind of thing.
Didn't expect it to go quite that sort of such a dark turn kind of thing for the character.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, Matt Smith, you know, very sinister in this. So he pops up in his like spirit formats every now and then, taunting Ellie as well. And throughout the movie, it makes us believe that Terence Stamp is the older version of his character, which was Jack, I think.
Jack.
So did everybody buy into that?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
I did and I didn't.
I did.
I did and I didn't. So I kind of did to a certain degree, but I also just thought, because from the beginning when she gets to London, instantly there's like that cab driver. Like Neil was next to me, and I don't know if you heard this when it was happening.
You called him
when the cab driver was like hitting on her, and in the most vile way. As a woman, I felt disgusted. Yeah, and I didn't blame her when she was like, "I'm going to get out here." I said I would have done the same thing. And I kind of, when Jack is being as creepy as he's being as well, you're kind of almost just like, "Oh, it's just another creep," basically. But yeah, as the story goes on and you learn more about Sadie's character and what she's going through, Sandy, sorry, not Sadie, you start to piece together that this sinister character must be the same sinister character who keeps popping up. But yeah, when that twist comes around, you just would never think he is the copper. The bit that turned me was, it was a little bit before like, that final confrontation, is when Ellie was running through the streets of Soho, she's seeing all the faces of everybody. She runs into the spirit of Jack, and it turns around, and it's Terrence Howard's character, Lawrence or something in the movie. I can't think, but
Terrence Stamp.
Yeah, his character. I can't remember his name in the movie. But
yeah, it does begin with an L.
Yeah, or Larry, Lawrence, something like that.
Laurie or something.
But that she runs into the spirit, it turns around, and she walks away, and there's Terrence Stamp. That to me, I suddenly realised she's seeing all these spirits. The Jack character's dead. She can't be seeing the spirit of somebody who is still alive. So that's to the point where I tripped. I was like, okay, no, he's somebody else. But I think it's still after that, for me, we get to see the scene of the copper.
Yeah.
I still didn't trigger then that he was that character. But then when they do the flashback and everything, and the wording, it all kind of makes sense. But that's the time I knew he wasn't Jack, but I didn't know who else he could be. I just thought he was like another creep. Do you know what I mean?
See, when that guy came on the screen, the young version of him came on the screen, I was like, maybe he's him because he's got like these piercing blue eyes.
The eyes, right? Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that when I saw it, but then literally about 5 minutes later, I was like, nah. Because
you forget it.
Of the way, you forget it, and because you're so sucked into the movie, and Matt Smith is so heavily in your face in that movie when he appears on screen. And when Terrence Stamp's on screen, he is nothing but like portrayed as a creepy guy that you buy into the performances between him and Ellie at the time. You know, especially the bit in the bar, you're totally rooting for her, and you're like, stay away from her, you creepo, man. And you know, by that point, you've forgotten about that guy or that suspect. You know, because I always see it as like a suspect lineup in these things, kind of thing. And then you're just like, okay, and then when you find out that he's dead, I actually forgot about the copper until. They said later that, there used to be a cop around here. And then I was like, oh, shit. And then it went into the flashback, just as I was flashbacking.
Because it makes sense that he would know all the girls and all that kind of
stuff. Everything just started
being invited.
Yeah. So...
And have to help him out sometimes.
Yeah. So
you know...
Go on. The anticipation.
I've forgotten what I was going to say now. I was waiting for you to say something.
Sorry.
Edge of my seat, Neil. Come on.
No, what got me was what you were saying, Ken, where you was like, she can only see dead people. The reason I still believed that Terrence Stamp was the older version of Matt Smith was because whenever you saw him, he was the only one who was in color, and he was the only one who was like, kind of fully solid. Like the rest of them, they were kind of spectral and you could almost see through them. He was like solid. And in my head, I was like, okay, the reason he's solid is because he's still alive.
Okay,
He's still real,
I felt like he's different to the rest of them because he's still alive.
Yeah, at one point I was like trying to look to see if they were smoking their cigarette, like, or holding it the same way and all that kind of stuff. See if they were the same guy or this kind of thing. But it was just like, by the time I was like seeing how Terrence was smoking, I was like, I can't remember how Matt Smith was smoking now to know whether it was actually the same way. Like.
And because they were both from London, they did have that similar accent, and they did that deliberately to again try to pull you into that. So, you know, well played.
And the same swagger as well. They had the same kind of stance and walking.
But it was one of those things where it was kind of so obvious that it kind of it was almost like, well, then it can't be them. It must be a twist because otherwise it's too. It's, you know, they're laying it out
too on the nose.
Yeah, it's too on the nose. Yeah, exactly. I still felt
I think what Edgar Wright did so well. Because of the way that he directed it, it's like you all kind of hinted at. You never really get to think about anything too long for you to get a clue of what's happening, because you might get hints of things, but the story keeps moving and you're so focused on what's happening to Eloise that you don't really pay attention to the clues that are there. So when you're thinking about it at the end of the film, you're like, oh yeah, shit, okay, that makes sense. Or I could have clocked that. But in the moment, you're so transported on her journey. I mean, the thing that was the most enjoyable for me was when Ellie was in her enjoyable phase of these dreams, and she kind of started assimilating her life to
changing her hair colour,
and changing her hair and this and that. Yeah, and you know, fueling her entire project at uni in the same clothes and everything that she was going to do for her fashion show. So I really enjoyed that and how her inspiration kind of came to life at that point. And then very quickly after that, it was like the artist crashing and burning.
Because it was only in that second dream that she realised she was like this backup supporting act. You know, and suddenly it's like, oh, I'm not really in control of this anymore, you know, and so that turned quite quickly. I thought it was going to be a lot more positive, and then suddenly we were going to get like a murder, and that was just going to take her by surprise. But yeah, it built it up in a lot more sinister way than I thought it would. Let's talk about the ending then. So who saw or who imagined the old woman was going to be Sandy in the house? When did it click for you guys?
It clicked a couple of minutes before it happened. I think
when she's talking to her,
when she said drink your tea.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, really,
that was it.
I didn't see it. I actually didn't see it coming, because when she offers a tea, I'm
Yeah,
like,
straight up and down.
when
I
she was
didn't
like,
even-
have some tea, I was just like, well, most people offer tea, you know, like,
It's an English
like
thing to do.
especially it being
I was
an
like,
Edgar
it's
Wright
easy.
movie
It's
and
a
it being
trigger.
a very British kind of style.
Yeah.
You know, you
Cup
got
of tea? Yeah.
so a
Yeah.
cup of tea. I was just like, yeah, yeah, sure, why not? You know, like it didn't faze me.
Yeah.
It wasn't
It's
until
only because
Yeah.
she offered her the tea, and then she said, "Drink it."
And then she said, "Drink it."
Drink it, yeah. So
Yeah, it was
by that
the
point-
insistence on
That
drinking,
was
on
like,
drinking it.
get out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sort of
I
was
didn't
like,
pick
hold
up
on,
It
on
was
that
like when
until
he
it
gets
was
out
too late.
when he's sitting on the sofa and the tea's being
Yeah.
like, turned, and literally it was that same moment of we're going
Yeah.
down this passage.
And I'm not sure how many times she referred
I
to
think
her by
there
her
was-
name in it either. But I think in that scene she calls her Alison or Ali or something like that, or you know, and then she referred to her as her first name beginning with an A, and then suddenly was like, "Oh, hang on, Alex or something." I can't remember what she ended up calling her. But,
Eloise?
Sorry,
Eloise? No,
I think
Alexandra,
Kenan's
I think.
the old lady.
Alexandra,
Her name's
yeah, Alexandra.
Alexandra.
And she referred to
Yeah.
her by name, and then
And
suddenly I
on the
realised,
mail,
oh, hang on, because Sandy kept going through that, because she, you know, when she was going through her cycle of names, it was Sandy, then Sam, then it was Andy, then it was Alex, Alexandra, and suddenly when she mentioned her name at one point during that conversation, I was like, oh, hang on. And obviously they help you piece it together. They show the newspaper and stuff like that, and she starts giving a chilling monologue and stuff like that, and she's paralysed, and we go through this, you know, quite fantasy ending in a sense, you know, because she's coming up the stairs and, you know, you're kind of getting that hallucinogen feel of Ellie's character. She's coming up the stairs for her. Poor John gets stabbed. At that point I was like, please don't die. Not John. Just don't do that to John. Come on. But I thought John was going to come back and help her, which he didn't. You know, Ellie stood her ground. And but yeah, the ending was going to be tough, because I thought, okay, she's just going to end up killing Sandy, but she didn't, because the ghosts was trapping her down. They were asking her to help them, and she's like, no, you abused this girl. I'm not helping you. So she still, even after all that, understood Sandy and still wanted to help her, because she was abused, and she understood why she killed all those guys. You know, buried them all in her house under the floorboards, in the walls and stuff like that. And, you know, there's so many things which then you start thinking back when we came out, and it was like, how would you not smell all those dead bodies? She said, you know, in the summer there's a smell, you know, you need to open the windows. The restaurant next door is a Greek or French or Greek restaurant, or you
French
smelling garlic, and, you know, everything kind of worked out. You know, a lot of those things were kind of covered. So, but yeah, I thought the ending was done so well, and I really liked the fact it was not just this woman who was upset she killed people and now we're supposed to hate her.
A psycho killer,
like a femme fatale, I think the only moment where I thought, something's a bit suspect, is when she asks her initially about if anyone's died in the house and if she knows anyone called Sandy. And at that moment, the response that she gets is, well, many people use fake names. And I just thought, why would you just assume that, first of all? And why would that be your response? So in that moment, I thought she knows more than what we're seeing at this moment in time.
Actually,
I didn't for 1 second.
There was one moment. Yeah, there was one moment where I was like, there's treachery afoot. Is when Sandy's young and she's getting like all the guys dealing with her. There's like a little porcelain statue that's in the bedroom. And then when Ellie goes into Alexandra's room,
there's the statue.
You see the statue. And when I was like, I leant forward and I was like, there's something wrong going on here.
See, I thought she might end up being.
You know what? I wasn't.
So I thought she might have knowing Jack and helped him cover it up.
Yes. That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be that she was...
Like his mother
if you remember, there's one scene... No, not even the mum. There's one scene when she's sitting. I think it's when she's talking to the young version of Terrence Stamp. I didn't know it was Sam Coughlin, because that's his real name. Because even when I saw him, I was like, why are you only in it for one scene?
Yeah.
So I was like, you big name, you a named actor, especially in the UK, and you're in this scene for like 1 minute and then you bounce. I was like, something wrong with that. But when that scene is taking place, Sandy looks over at Jack, and Jack's like he's like squeezing some girl's backside.
Next girl, yeah.
When he's doing, he's squeezing some next girl's backside. So when he was doing that, in my head, I was thinking, I wonder if the old lady is that girl.
Yeah.
Because when she was like, "Oh, I used to clean the place," I'm thinking,
you cleaned up a murder. Yeah,
that's who you are. You cleaned up a murder. That's what you mean. You just cleaned up a murder, and then that's who you are, and you know what happened, and you're trying to like cover the tracks. And then when it was like, "No, she's Sandy," I was like, "What?"
It's fantastic to see how we all picked up on different things, and that's the beauty of movies, isn't it? So that's brilliant.
I think, you know what, Ken? I just want to add that for me, I really loved that you, like, as a woman as well, I loved that actually by the end of the film, even though Jack was this imposing, horrible, nasty guy the whole way through, and like a few of you said, he was in your face every time he was there. It wasn't about him at all, and the story actually wasn't even about him. He died way back when. She killed him. And I liked that it was about this woman and her own grief and what it had done to her. And that it was then a story between a woman and another woman and them understanding what they've gone through. And even though Eloise hasn't gone through it, she has to a certain degree because she's witnessed a lot of it. And I that to me was quite a unique thing that I don't think I've encountered in a lot of films, where it ends up actually being something between the two women.
Absolutely.
And I think to be honest,
and then we get this nice little scene at the end where, she sees her mother in the mirror of the fashion show. The mother's come back. We haven't seen her since the beginning of the film. So, we think that Ellie's settled. She's seeing her mum again now. Looks back in the mirror, and then she sees Sandy in the mirror. And it's just like, it's a nice touch. It doesn't scream sequel, because I don't think it can. But it was a really nice... It was a really nice nod to think she's going to carry her with her now, potentially as well as her mum, because of the impact that she's had on her life. Yeah. So, really good.
I felt like when I saw that scene, when Sandy turned up, my instinct said to me, horror movie, she's gonna
jump out the mirror. I was like,
forever. And then when it was like, no, they were cool with each other, I was like, oh, okay, they're good, they're cool with each other.
Yeah, thought we might get I know what you did last summer kind of moment, just like burst out of the mirror.
Yeah. But actually, that does remind me of one thing that I really liked. When Ellie was watching what she believed to be the murder, that scene reminded me so much of the original A Nightmare on Elm Street when Tina's getting murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was shades of that and Psycho. With the knife, the action, the lighting, the blood on the eyes and the knife. It was great hammer horror moment. That was fantastic. And the lighting, you mentioned it actually, because at the outside, her light flashes white and red. But during that scene, it just flashed red during the murder to just give it that atmosphere. That was quite chilling. Yeah. Any final thoughts on the movie before we wrap up, guys?
No. Go see it.
Go see it. Even if you're listening to this point now, then you've had a whole a big ton of spoilers. Don't worry about that. Go watch the film.
Absolutely.
You know what happened.
Yeah.
You'll be impressed either way. You can find out stuff that we missed.
Yeah. Or if you've now seen the movie and you've come back to watch this part of the podcast, did you spot all the things that we spotted? Or is there stuff that we've missed? So sound off in the comments. If you started seeing stuff in the movie, like, I knew this, I saw this coming, please let us know in the comments. So, all right. So we gave our ratings of the movie. We'll just give it again now. So Neil gave it a 7. Alex gave it an 8, and Rita gave it an 8. Sacha and I give it a 9 out of 10. That's where we're sitting. So if anybody wants to sound off on your social media, guys, or if you've got anything that you want to pimp out and just shout about that's going on in your personal lives, please do tell. So Neil, we'll start with you.
I was about to say, check out Creative Control, but you're already checking it out.
You're already there, baby.
Watching it. So keep checking us out. We got a whole bunch of other episodes. You can check that out.
Check out Zedos Gang.
And if that ain't good enough, well, you can check out Zedos Gang, because we got more for you there. Right? If it's not if it's not Zedos Gang and if it's not Creative Control, it's probably not worth your time.
Nice. What about your Instagram that you've been doing with all your work? The housework?
Oh, yes. So they got Zavi Chic and the Geek on Instagram. You can see me and my amazing future wife trying to basically paint and decorate our house.
Yeah, it's a really good video on there. It's like they're doing it all themselves. There's really good stuff on there.
It's not cool. Like, you can't see my arms. I don't know how well you can see them, but there's paint everywhere. Because up until moment of us recording this podcast, I was literally painting. So,
great. Alex, anything you want to share?
No, not really. I mean, I'm on Instagram at Lex_Doman, but I very rarely post, but you can check me out there.
And what's on the side of your Sky vans these days?
I've got Westworld.
Oh, nice. Okay, so if you see a Westworld, flag Alex down, get his autograph.
Yeah, there's a few of us out there with Westworld ones, so it may not be me.
Amrita, what about
them
yourself?
down till you get the right one.
Yeah.
So I am on Insta as well, but like Alex, I rarely post. If I do, it tends to be my story. But mine is at Quirky Turquoise. It's more just about my life. There's nothing really filmic going on there. But I do like to pimp out Creative Control. So you will see me posting on there every now and then on my story.
And Sacha?
Yeah.
You can find me on Zedos Gang, the Zedos Gang podcast, the #1 podcast in the whole of film and cinema, giving you the latest movie news. Obviously, Creative Control is about different stuff and reviews, but we bring you the latest.
When we record it.
When we record it. Otherwise, yeah. If you're into retro video games, check out outstream.com, and we have loads and loads of NES, SNES, classic arcades from the 80s, 90s, and 70s, Spectrum, Amiga games, and most recently, I think MSX. If you even remember what MSX is, yeah, they're bringing those titles. It's
a great platform. I downloaded it on my Samsung. I've been playing some retro games. Yeah, it's a great platform. Right, and you can follow me. Free. And it's free. And you can see Sacha on Twitter at Satchman3. He'll also post his wins on Warzone, Call of Duty as well. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Kenan Talks Film. I do post some things, Kenan Talks Film, on Instagram sometimes as well. But it's mainly my Twitter account where you'll be able to catch me, and I'm getting some recognition. I posted a review of this movie on Twitter, and Edgar Wright liked it. So understand, you know what I'm saying when I'm talking about film. That is what I'm talking about. And yeah, but also, Sacha leads a podcast with our friend Joe, Zedos Gang. They've been going on for some years now. They're on episode 140. I've been lucky enough, and Neil, we've been lucky enough to be a part of that for some time now, and we really enjoy it. That is all about, and Amrita, yeah, as well. So it's all kind of latest news. We talk about, some trailers that we've seen, and casting and film announcements, all that kind of stuff. If it's about movie news that you want, that's where you want to go. So you can find them on Twitter at Zedos Gang, and again on all the podcast platforms, Zedos Gang Movie Podcast. But yeah, as for Creative Control, you can check out all other movie reviews on YouTube. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're on the up, and we're on every major podcast platform, so you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Audible, Good Pods. Good Pods, we are the #1 podcast for TV and film on Good Pods. So round of applause, team, round of applause. And last week we were the 7th highest ranked podcast show overall. So we are growing. People are listening to us in New Zealand, Australia, China, all over the place. So we really, really appreciate your support, and just continue to, share our stuff and keep listening. That's the main thing. But give us the feedback, put your stuff in the comments, catch us on Twitter, give us some recommendations, some topics we want to do. We're going to be doing another episode coming up soon for our main series, which is going to be James Bond, What Next? We're going to cast the new James Bond. We're going to cast Bond. We're going to cast M. We're going to cast Moneypenny, we're going to cast a next Bond villain, whether it's a new one we want to create or an old character, and we're going to pick our new Bond girl. So everyone's going to get a chance to say what they want to happen to James Bond next. So look out for that one. That'll be dropping soon. But yeah, that's pretty much
Return of the treatment.
Yeah. Oh, Neil's treatment. Oh, it's going to be a long one. I believe it's going to be at least like an hour and a half episode. So you might need to listen to that in segments, depending on your train journeys and your car journeys and stuff. But yeah, but thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate it, guys. And until next time, peace out.
Peace.
Okay.